In this video, I'm going to show you how I went from this physique to this physique in just 3 years. I'm currently 21 years old, and at the time I was 18 in the photo on the left, and I did not think that I could make this much progress in just 3 years. So the diet that I used is what I'm going to be talking about in this video, and I actually learned this from a series of Andrew Huberman podcasts that I watched again a few years ago, implemented it instantly, and it's worked incredibly well. And basically, the main point of it is to increase your productivity, yes, but mostly it's to be able to get the lean physique with the muscle. And you can see I've got the muscle and I've got the leanness, whereas in the first photo, I'm lean, but I have no muscle, right? We're trying to do both at the same time, right? Kind of like main gaining. So the secret is what I'm going to tell you straight away. The secret is fasted workout with caffeine. Now, this might sound a bit silly because you might be saying, well, no, I need to have a pre workout meal. I need to get my carbs in before I work out. I need to get my protein in before I work out. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to lift quite as much. And you would actually be kind of correct because basically the protocol is to train pretty much first thing in the morning, right? To not eat anything before you train in the morning, and to have some kind of pre-workout, some kind of caffeine, like coffee, something like that. It doesn't really matter, but caffeine with an empty stomach. And you won't be able to lift quite as much as you normally do, right? Which again seems counterintuitive, but hear me out. The goal here is to get a lean physique, which looks good. You're also strong, and you can play sport. Sport's very important to me, and also looking good, right? So you should drink a lot of water for this, right? You wake up in the morning, down some water, keep downing water, like drink. I have this, drink like, I don't know, one or two of these I normally do. And also have your pre-workout or coffee, whatever you prefer, for your caffeine. And so what Dr. Andrew Huberman basically explained, and you can find this video for yourself, it's like a 3 or 4 hour podcast, which is why I'm breaking it down much more simply and shorter here, is the caffeine on the empty stomach is really important because the body has no energy sources to go for except for the fat stores, right? Known as lipids. And the caffeine not only helps you to work out with more intensity, but there's some kind of chemical reaction that goes on between the caffeine and the lipids. The lipids are basically fats, like I said, which accelerates the body's ability to access the lipids as energy store. So you won't notice that much of a decrease in your energy, particularly if you take caffeine, because yes, you might be on an empty stomach, but your body can actually use the fat in your body as energy in a far more efficient manner because you have caffeine, right? And you can look at this not even just from a scientific perspective. I mean, if you take like an esoteric sort of perspective with like primal hunter sort of thing, like caveman human, waking up in the morning, most likely from the research that's been done on cavemen, the limited research admittedly, but they'd go out and hunt first thing in the morning. They're not going to have food waiting for them necessarily. And if they do, it's most likely going to be like sort of non-substantial things like maybe berries or nuts, maybe. Say they find it along the way and they forage while they're hunting, potentially. Um, and that would support the idea that yes, training on an empty stomach is a good idea because maybe humans have evolved that way. You can also look at this from a farmer perspective. I mean, I'm British, and in Britain, we've been farming for thousands of years at this point. That's how civilization really begins. And a farmer, most of the time, would wake up really early, like 5 8, well, at sunrise, right? Before they even had a concept of time like we do nowadays, and go and work the fields on an empty stomach, and then eat afterwards. So, you've woken up, you drank your water, you've got your caffeine in any form, and you've gone to go work out. Now, how should you work out? Well, again, this is also supported by scientific evidence, but strength training, obviously, we want to be big, so we're going to strength train. And the way that you want to do this is basically by using heavy weights at first. So obviously you do your little warm up, and then you pick up the, I don't know, 40 kilo dumbbells, bang out some incline chest press, right? That's what I do anyway, that kind of thing. And that will obviously break down the muscles, and you break down the muscle fiber, and then you repair and it gets stronger. We all know this. And what one of the interesting parts about this protocol is, though, is as you get later on in the workout, or as you get towards the end of working out a particular muscle, you should use lighter weights towards the end and really go for this squeezing action. Now, the reason that I recommend this is because it is shown scientifically that doing cardio at the end of a strength training session is the most optimal way to burn fat, particularly if you're fasted and on caffeine. Now, the issue that I encountered with this is, one, just the time of it takes a while, right? More importantly, two, is I felt really nauseous when I was doing this. It will, if you implement this protocol, it will take you like a bit of time to adjust. I remember the first few workouts, maybe the first week or so that I was doing this, I felt sick at the beginning, like not the beginning of my workout, like the middle of my workout, and the nausea would pass. But I felt kind of sick because you've got nothing in you, right? It's obviously going to make you feel sick. That's fair enough, and you will have to adjust to that if you want to do this going forward. But the sickness only really hit for me when I was doing cardio at the end of the sessions as well. So what I started doing was, instead of cardio, I would just use lighter weights. And, let's say we're banging out a big heavy set of chest press. Then towards the end of the workout, we can do some like, even some push-ups as like a superset, right? It's not particularly demanding, but it's movement and it's relatively easy to do, relatively light to do. But it gets you kind of towards the upper bounds and past the hypertrophy sort of range, going more into the sort of cardio range, which again is really good for burning fat and getting the kind of physique that I'm on about. Because you don't achieve this physique, right, just by building muscle. You've got to have a pretty low level of body fat as well to do that, right? So you've worked out, you've done your heavy sets, you've done your light sets at the end. Now what are you going to do? Well, you're going to go and eat, obviously. Now, I could tell you fast until dinner, and I have done that in the past. It's not sustainable. It really isn't, especially not if you're pushing yourself to failure, which you should be doing. So, post-workout meal, meat. You can have dairy as well. That's cool. But, like, do not be eating carbs. You have a little bit, but, like, really you shouldn't be. Because you don't want to be fogging your brain, right? Carbs fog your brain. We all know this. It makes you feel drowsy. It makes you feel relaxed. And that's not what we want to be feeling towards the start of the day. Also, we want to be eating things like meat because they're complex sugars on a scientific, like biological level, which means that it takes a lot of energy for our body to process them, as opposed to like simple carbohydrate sugars, which are far easier. The more complex, like meat sort of sugars, they're called sugars. They're not actually sugars, like in a traditional sense, but this is like the scientific terminology. It's much more complex to break down, and it takes more calories from your body to break it down. Therefore, you're going to be burning a good amount of calories, and a lot of these are going to be coming from your fat stores as well, because the body doesn't have carbs to go to fuel the processes of the body, right? So post-workout meal, meat, essentially. And then as you're going through the day, drink a lot of water, right? And also, if you want a snack, nuts are an absolute cheat code. Like, they're unbelievable. Namely, pistachios and peanuts are unbelievable. Now, what you do want to watch out for is some peanuts. Some types of peanuts will have like rapeseed oil in them. So I can actually just show you here. You want to be going for mostly these dry roasted peanuts if you're going to eat peanuts, because they don't have like the oil on them, and they don't have the rapeseed oil, and they also just taste really good. And nuts are great, particularly peanuts, because they're very high in protein and also high in fat. Despite what you've been told, fat is really good for you. Like actual, like good fat, not fat from sugars, as in traditional sugars like sweets, but like meat, fatty nuts, that kind of thing. And then what I'm going to tell you, which you might be surprised by, is when you have your evening meal, dinner, tea, whatever you want to call it, I like to eat really high carbs. Now, obviously, I have a ton of protein in there as well. So I might have like spaghetti and meatballs. I might have like a stir fry. I might have literally like fish and chips. Obviously, not from the chippy, but like if for those Americans watching the fish and chip shop, um, you can get like healthy fish and healthy chips. Like you can get the really fat chips. Which have like very limited processing and it's mostly just potato, but it tastes really good. And you can get fish, which again isn't particularly processed. You can get like from Aldi if you're in the UK, like these frozen, I think they're called whitefish, like Alaskan white pollock. I think it is pollock. It's like whitefish. It looks gross, but it's just pure fish. It's really cheap, really high in protein, and basically eat high carbs, high protein for your evening meal because you do need to get carbs in to build muscle. Again, I'm showing you like how to be really big, really strong, but also low body fat, right? We need to do both at the same time. So we do need to get the carbs in somewhere to build the muscle. But I recommend doing it, like a couple hours before bed, 2 or 3 hours before bed. So let's say you're going to go to bed at 9, eat dinner around 6, maybe 5 even if you want. But like around 6 to 7, because what you don't want to do is eat too late, and because you're eating a ton of carbs, the carbs will make it very difficult for you to go to sleep if you don't give your body enough time to digest them. So that's one of the downsides, right? So you want to make sure you're leaving a bit of a gap before going to sleep. But the high carb, high protein dinner does a really good job of giving you all the nutrients that you need overnight to build the muscle ready for the next morning where you're going to be doing a fasted workout with caffeine. So any excess fat comes straight off. This protocol, like, genuinely changed my physique unbelievably. I will refer back to these photos. Like, this 3-year transformation, that is ridiculously hard. I'm also 6'1", making it even more difficult to put on this kind of muscle because I'm relatively tall, right? If you want to achieve this kind of physique, it is completely doable. And there's so many factors, but this is the diet that you want to be using. Little bonus tip as well, don't drink. Don't be an idiot. Don't drink. Like, the alcohol is not good for you in terms of building muscle. If you're going to drink, at least just drink spirits. Anyway, that's it. Build a good physique. Any questions? Comment down below. Thank you for watching.